Jagged, Jai Masters. One topic that everyone always asks me to talk on, which I know they don't mean it, but I'll do it anyways, is stress. You don't know what stress is? Anybody know about the word stress? People say they have stress. They say their life is stressful, the relationship is stressful, the job is stressful. I need a vacation, I need a break, I need to drink, I need to do something because I'm filled with stress. First of all, what is stress? And don't tell me stress is a job or stress is a person yelling at you. No. From an engineering point of view, if you're a builder, I-beams have stress. They measure them in terms of stress. A big I-beam, okay? Metal, steel I-beam. What does that mean? It means if there's a force put on top of it, that gravity is pulling down according to its mass, it puts stress on the I-beam. So how much stress can an I-beam handle before it has had too much stress and it breaks or cracks or becomes weak or whatever it is, just like you become weak under stress. That's what stress is. Two opposing forces, I don't know if you call them pushing against each other, but two opposing forces opposing each other. That creates stress. It's the same thing with your stress. The world is not stressful. Relations are not stressful. Job is not stressful. They're not stressful. They're just energetic events that are unfolding in the universe. The whole universe is unfolding. Do you feel stressed? The planets are in orbit. Galaxies are passing through other galaxies. So much is going on, it's ridiculous. Black holes are sucking everything into them. Do you feel stressed? No. Why? You're not resisting. If you resist, if you decide, oh my God, the black holes are going to swallow us all at the end of the world, you will feel stress. When you hear the word black hole, you will feel stress if you study this stuff. Okay? It is not because the event is stressful. Events are not stressful. Events are energetic processes passing through time and space. All events. If somebody's talking to you, it is an energetic process expressing itself in time and space. It will come out and it will pass through. If you resist it, you will feel stress. Anything you resist, you feel stress. Therefore, you're doing stress. Do not say stress is the outside world or events that are happening to you. It takes two to tango. It's a perfect example where it takes two to tango. If you resist anything, it creates stress. Ready? She said she loves you. Oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. There, you feel stress. She says she doesn't love you. Good. I didn't like her anyways. You don't feel stress. If you resist anything, you feel stress. If an event, you say that event was very stressful, not to the person standing next to you, but stressful to you. Why? You resisted. So the whole secret to working with stress is not changing your job or a relationship or doing anything that's not stressful. That's ridiculous. You're creating the stress and you're saying, I need to find something that's not stressful. That's kind of cute, isn't it? What it boils down to is you have to stop creating stress. If you stop creating stress, you will not have stress, I assure you. But you don't know how to do that. You don't know that you can change yourself. You don't know that you're in there doing these things. You just take that no, that's just me. Therefore, the outside world has to change so it doesn't challenge me to resist it. There's two ways you can do it. If the outside world behaves, then you don't have to resist it. What does it mean behaves? Is the way you want it to be. But the person next to you doesn't want it to be that way. Too bad for them. If it's the way you want it to be, you don't resist. Therefore, you say it's non-stressful. You're wrong. It's just not causing you to resist. It's not non-stressful. If the same thing happened tomorrow after a sequence of events, here, have a dream. Have a dream that some terrible thing happens when you're driving down a certain street, and you drive down the street every single day, but this terrible accident happened, right? I guarantee when you go to drive down the street the next day, you're going to feel stress. The road did not change. The cars did not change. Nothing changed. You changed. And you resisted the experience. As everyone understands, is it terrible I talk to you this way? In other words, they don't. They tell you, your life coaches, all those people say, find a job that works for you, so get out of your stressful situation. No, you can't handle that relationship. Yeah, that's right. What they're saying is you can't change. Therefore, you have to change the sequence of events that are happening to you so you don't resist them. They don't even say it that way. So it doesn't create stress. You want to go home now? I told you, Rumi wrote this beautiful thing. that says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. That's everything we ever teach. That's what it means to think the answer is outside and work outside versus understanding the answer is inside and you work inside. Well, what's wrong with working outside? Absolutely nothing. It's not non-spiritual. It's not wrong. It's not the devil. It's not evil. No. There's nothing wrong. You would find out it doesn't work. It works a little bit. If you're causing me stress, I say, I can't handle this anymore. I leave. I don't feel that stress. I guarantee you will find another stress. You didn't get rid of the cause of stress. You got rid of the stimulus that was causing you to resist. Do you understand that? Sure, you can do that. How can it possibly work? Well, I can think and control everything about me so that I don't feel stressed. Really, I've discussed that with you before. The moments unfolding in front of you have an amazing history. The moment unfolding in front of you has nothing to do with you. Just like the rings of Saturn have nothing to do with you. The galaxies, the everything, they have nothing to do with you. And you know it. You accept it. Your neighbors 3 doors down have nothing to do with you. Nothing has anything to do with you until you decide it does. You're taking the moment in front of you personal. The moment in front of you is exactly the same as every other moment in the universe. It's that which is unfolding at that point in time and space because of all the forces that coalesce together to make it be that way. That is how that moment got there. It didn't get there because you're bad. It didn't get there because you didn't go to church. That was one factor, but there are only 700 billion other factors through time and space. In the new book, I don't like to tell the story in a talk because I like people to read it. Because that was my favorite story in Living Untethered. It makes a statement. If your great-great-great-great-grandmother didn't meet your great-great-great-grandfather, you're not here. What did you have to do with that? Yet it determined everything. And that goes for every event, not just them meeting. How did they meet? What else happened? What happened to somebody else that ended up meeting them later? Or who the heck knows? You don't understand. It is a culmination of all these different events through time and space coming together to create every moment wherever it is. That's what that moment was caused by, from the beginning of time and space. If the value of an electron was 0.0000001 different than it is, nothing looks like it is. It won't join together. It won't create atoms the way they are. Everything is that way. Everything. And yet you think it has to do with you. Well, that's pretty egotistical. That's exactly what it is. Ego. You know what it says? This is what ego says. I matter, therefore I'm in charge of the moment in front of me. And it shouldn't have been that way. That's my favorite statement. That should not have happened. You want to bet? For that not to have happened, 700 billion things would have had to have been different through time and space. So you're not going to control the moment in front of you. There's no way in the world you're going to control the moment in front of you. I'll give it to another level. Any of you that are into quantum physics, they have now found out that going way, way down there, looking down there, there's not even atoms. There's no electrons or protons. What there is these subatomic particles, quarks, leptons, and bosons, that pop out of an energy field, but they don't really pop out. It's basically the behavior of the field seems to behave as a particle. There's really nothing there. That's a big part of physics, the dichotomy for light, whether it's a particle or a wave. And now they're sitting there saying everything's that way. We don't know if it's a particle or a wave. It's just a wave acting like a particle sometimes. You were taught in physics in 5th grade that electrons circle around an atom, right? You drew them, there's 2 in this ring and 4 in that ring. It's kind of fun, right? Lie. It's not true. They're just popping up in an area that might act like a ring, and no one knows they're going to pop up next. But it tends to be in that area that they pop up. Nothing is the way you think it is. That behavior is what becomes this world. It's all the quantum field behaving a certain way, building subatomic particles, building electrons and protons, building atoms, building molecules, building this, making your body, making the buildings, making every single thing. And you're going to control it, are you? I love it. You are pretty serious that you think it should be the way you want it to be. You start getting down to, now, okay, there's one force. I'm sorry you had to look at it. That is the force that's creating the moment in front of you. It has nothing to do with you. I mean, it's something, you're there. But come on, man. If any of the other things didn't happen the way they happened, when they happened, it wouldn't be there. It'd be different. And you don't control those things. So you have no right to say it's wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing right. Somebody questioned me the other day. They sat there and said, you said in the book that the moment in front of you is perfect. How can it be perfect? Children are dying, and there's innocent, right? I didn't say it's good. I didn't say it's moral. I didn't say it's right. I didn't say it's just. I didn't say anything like that. Those are human concepts in their mind. It is the perfect result of every single thing that made it be the way it is. It is a perfect result of all the forces that ever existed coming together to create that exact moment in front of you, and that's true of every moment in the universe. It all is that. This just happened to be the one you're standing in front of. One of my favorite things to tell you, is I want you to be shocked, is if you're standing there and somebody's yelling at you, they're not yelling at you. All the forces all coalesce together to create a moment in which somebody's yelling there and you happen to be standing there. That's going to happen in that moment in time and space, and you happen to be standing at that moment where somebody's yelling. How can they be yelling at you? Their mother and father and all the psychological forces, and they have a stomach ache. And you hear me? 800 billion zillion forces made this person yell at that moment. The fact that you went, don't you me. Who was willing to listen? It's not personal. It can't be personal. Everybody's different. That shouldn't happen. I'm glad that happened. You say something different. Which one's right? There is nothing like that. There's just reality coalescing together to create the moments wherever you stand in front of you. They have nothing to do with you, and you should understand they have nothing to do with you. And there will be no stress. There will be no stress, because there's no basis for resisting reality. That's another word for the moment in front of you, reality. It's what's actually happening right there in front of you. I don't like it. Well, guess who loses? It's going to be the way it is because it was forced to be that way. Does that mean predestination? Of course it doesn't mean predestination. Moments are changing and interacting with each other, and it creates what it creates. If somebody's yelling at you and you yell back, it will absolutely affect what happens next. But it's not the only factor. It's a tiny factor compared to all the factors. So you wake up and you realize you have two choices. You either attempt to manipulate and control the moments in front of you so they don't cause stress. That's what everybody's doing. Or you catch on. That's a losing battle. I'm playing God. I've decided how the moments in front of me have to be. And I'm going to make them be that way. Whoa. Good luck. Who has succeeded yet? Nobody. Hitler tried, didn't he? Look what happened when he tried. Look what happened when some of those really psychologically disturbed people decided it has to be the way I want it to be. I tell you, I was like, okay, I'm Jewish, so we talk Hitler. Because it's a good example. Bad example, but a good example. Why? Look at what that man did, and then look at the end of the war. Look at the aerial photographs of Paris, of Berlin, of London. Destruction. Total destruction. Because he couldn't accept that there are Jews? What in the world? Or blacks? Or something? What's that all about? Resistance. I can't handle the way it is, so I have to change it. And look what it did. And that's what happens. Period. Look what's happening in Ukraine right now. I can't handle the way it is. It's destructive. Resistance is destructive. When? Always. Resistance is always destructive. It creates stress, and stress causes you to act to try to relieve the stress. Hitler was stressed when he saw a Jew, wasn't he? He was so stressed, he couldn't live with it. He had to do something. And it wasn't just Jews and blacks and Catholics, mostly Jews. But basically, he couldn't handle if anything was different than the way he wanted it to be. And look at the trouble he caused. Well, so does everybody else. It's the cause of all destruction and disturbance in this world. What? People can't accept reality. Is the problem that reality is a certain way? No. The problem is that they can't accept reality. Right? Who taught us otherwise? Christ. Christ, the Dalai Lama, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Beings who understood you don't change it by fighting it. Okay? So you come down to say, my choice is either I resist reality, and I've defined reality, that which is actually happening. Either I resist reality and it creates tremendous stress inside of me, and now I have to resist even more because I'm all stressed out. What do you do when you're stressed out? You're burned out, you're stressed out, I can't handle it, right? Then you can't handle anything. Because you didn't handle what your husband or wife said or what the kid did or what the papers say. Now you can't handle anybody else because you're all stressed out. You didn't solve a thing. That is not a solution to sit there and say, I can't be okay until everything's the way I want it to be. So then you come down to, okay, that makes sense. I understand I can't really control the world. I'm so sorry you're trying. I'm so sorry that you're sitting there saying, I will never be okay if this happens. And now you're sitting there trying to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. How many times have things not unfolded the way you thought they were going to? What did John Lennon say? Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. It's true. How can you control what's going to happen? You don't even know any of the forces. I said there's all these forces coalescing together. You'd have to control all of those. You don't even know what they are. You don't know who they are. You don't even know what's going to happen. It may lightning, it may rain, who knows? No one. But you said you can't be okay unless you control it. But you don't know the alternative. Because what you look at is if it's not the way I want, I'm not happy. I'm stressed out. I feel disturbed and I don't like it. So the only way I know how to be okay is to manipulate and control the moments that are unfolding in front of me and hope and pray that they unfold the way I want in the future. Well, no, that's not the only way. There's another way. And this way works. Is you stop and say, wait a minute, I'm so busy saying that the moment in front of me, that has nothing to do with me, be the way I want. Where did I get that notion of how I want it? Oh my God, don't do that. Yes, I'm going to do that. How did I decide how I want you to behave? Where did I get that? How did I decide how I want the moment in front of me to be? How did I decide that I want my meal served a certain way, not from the left-hand side, from the right-hand side, and I'm very proper. All the silver has to be set up with a salad fork and then a main fork and then a spoon in the right order. Otherwise I freak out. And anyways, you get all these notions. Somebody else sits down and eats food. I don't have a problem with it. How did you decide on your wedding how the napkins had to be? If you had that kind of a wedding, right? How did you decide exactly what the initials were supposed to be and how they were supposed to be laid out and that they weren't exactly right? Oh my God, and it ruined your whole wedding. So that's what it does. Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is to say, how did I decide that I want it to be that way? And, I've studied it for 50 years. I've watched it more than 50 years now. And I see very clearly how it got that way. And it got that way in me the same way it got that way in you. Exactly the same. I'll do it personal. I have had experiences in my life that were good, that were enjoyable. And I've had experiences in my life that were very, very unenjoyable. How about you? Guess what? I'm not stupid. I want the ones that were enjoyable to happen again. And I want the ones that weren't enjoyable to not happen again. That's where you got your preferences. Psychology says man's the sum of his learned experiences. They're not right. That's not who you are. You're the consciousness watching the psyche be the sum of its learned experiences. But I assure you, your psyche, what do I mean psyche? Your thoughts and your emotions, that whole package in there is the sum of your learned experiences. That's scary, right? You like to think, I make my own decision. You do not. You have never made a decision. You do not make your own decisions. You didn't decide what to believe. You didn't decide who to like. You didn't decide who to not like. It was programmed. It was programmed based on your past experiences. If you in junior high school dated a redhead and she dumped you, you don't like redheads. You get a little weird. You may not see it way down there, but it leaves impressions. We call them some scars. It leaves impressions. If your mother was wonderful and it was just doted all over you and it was the most relationship you ever had, you're really good on Mother's Day. If your mother treated you terribly and yelled at you all the time and all like that, Mother's Day is not your favorite day. I literally had someone tell me out here. Said it was funny. We were sharing, and they just said, the worst time of the year for me are the holidays. Well, why would the holidays be the worst time of the year for you? And there's a reason in there. Because you didn't get what you wanted, and your sister did, or somebody's other died on that holiday, or something happened. Okay, you did not make that up. I think I'm going to not like holidays. No. The sum of your learned experiences. And if you think that I have to talk psychology like far off, that okay, maybe, watch this. I love this person. I really like this person. I just met them. They seem really beautiful. I'm telling everybody nice about them. And then I look and read their Wikipedia. And they had a stage in their life where they were a mass murderer. And some lawyer got them off, all right? You tell me how I feel the next time I see them. Did it change? One more input. One more learned experience. Don't say, but that's reasonable. I'm telling you, it's the sum of your learned experiences, isn't it? Now you see it? You're not making these decisions. You're having experiences, and they're getting stuck in you. And therefore, they're developing your preference system. All right, now we've talked very deep. So now you have a choice. Go out there and change the moments unfolding in front of you forever, so that the way your preference system, which the sum of your learned experiences, wants them to be, or question this process. Is that really the greatest that I am? Is the sum of my learned experiences? Right? I failed math in 3rd grade, and now I'm not good at math. Do you try? Of course not. I'm not good at it. Am I exaggerating? You ever seen a kid do that? You ever watch yourself do that? Okay? Go out there and try to play tennis with just playing around with the kids, right? And you're the worst one out there. Kids going to the net. You want to play tennis? No. And you think that's logical. Well, that's sensible. It's a problem. You in there, the consciousness, the awareness of being, are not the sum of your learned experiences. You're just the awareness. I'm aware that these experiences took place. I'm not the experience. I'm not the one who married George and then we had a divorce and then my child, we had to fight for custody. That's not who you are. Those are the experiences you had. Who had them? Me. Me who's in there having the experience. You are not the sum of your learned experiences. You're the experiencer of the experiences. All right? The problem is you resisted them. You resisted the experience. Therefore, it stayed inside of you. How did you resist it? It would have gone right through. I'm sitting there playing tennis, and I hit the ball into the net every time. Everybody else got it across. That's so funny. Right, you want to play tennis? Yeah, come on, let's do it again. You didn't keep it in there and make it part of your psyche. You experienced it. It came in. It was what it was. I had a bad day on the court. Maybe it'll be better next time. Maybe it won't. Who cares? It was out here playing. All right? It comes in. It passes through. But it didn't come in and pass through. Why? You resisted it. You have a power in there. You're not completely out of control in there. You have control, don't you? What is your power in there? Will. What is willpower? It is the power of consciousness. Consciousness is God. When the Bible says man is created in the image of God, that's consciousness. Conscious awareness is an amazing thing. It's the most amazing thing in the whole universe. There's all kinds of objects, and there's something aware of them. If you take the object away, you know the object's gone. If you take the awareness away, now what? All right? That's who you are. You are the awareness, the consciousness. That's what I mean by soul. That's what I mean by essence. That's Atman and Paramatman. That's everything, is consciousness. The consciousness has nothing to do with what it's conscious of, but it uses its will, its power to focus on it, and when it focuses on it, the thing can't pass through. It's like you build a dam, you build resistance. Will doesn't have to do that. You can use will to let go, but you don't. You use will to resist. Do you have hands in there that push things around? Do you notice things come in that you don't like? Do you have hands in there that grab things you really like, you don't want it to go away, so hold on to it? You're busy in there, are you not? Are you just passive in there, allowing everything to happen? No, you're busy in there. So basically, when you focus on an event that's coming in and you concentrate on it, either because it wasn't comfortable or it was comfortable, you don't let it pass. You're busy interacting with it. You're busy keeping it. You keep it because you don't want it to happen again, and you keep it because you want it to happen again. If something happens to you didn't like, you keep it, don't you? Suppression, repression, Freud called it. You have this tendency to say, no, I didn't want this to happen, so you did something that makes it stay. It's the funniest thing in the world. You sit there and you push it away. By pushing it away so you don't have to experience it, you will experience for the rest of your life. It will never make it through until you let it. It will be there, and Freud says that, doesn't he? That was happening when you're 2-3 years old, and when you're 80. Why? You kept it in there. The event didn't stay in there. The event passed 80 years ago. Mommy did this, Daddy did this, Uncle George said something. You kept it inside. And so this resistance, again, we'll get into stress. There's the birth of resistance. When the consciousness, the power of consciousness, gets addicted to pushing something away so it doesn't have to experience it. It's like building a dam. So now those impressions are left inside of you. They're the strong impressions. And they determine everything you believe and everything you hope for. And every single thing about your psyche is the sum of those experiences that you kept inside. And now you behave the way you behave. All your political activism. And I'm not telling you not to be activist, but we'll talk about a proper conscious activist in a minute. But your activism is based on the fact that you've had experiences My father used to tell me to shut up. He meant to shut up all the time. Don't you tell me to shut up. I'm going to express myself. I have free will. All right? You used to talk all the time. It was embarrassing. And I sit there and say, I like being told if I'm bothering somebody. It's just your experiences. It's nothing good or bad or right or wrong or better or worse. That's why everybody fights with everybody. Everybody had different experiences. So this person's all big about rights for this person's all big about rights for that. Don't blame them. Understand. They had different experiences than you. If you want to go fight for it, there's higher ways to deal with things. So basically, that's what happened. You developed your personality, your concepts, your views, your hopes, your dreams, beliefs, preferences. All of that is psychological in your mind because you resisted past experiences or clung to past experiences, and it built this you that you're busy being. Is it easy to carry you in there? Huh? It's real easy to go anywhere you want. Nothing ever bothers you. You can meet new people. Nothing you're going to embarrass. It's like, how many things don't bother you? How many things bother you? Everything bothers you. Some people are bothered because of somebody else's color, somebody else's religion, somebody else the way they wear their hair, the way they wear their clothes, the perfume they put on, the perfume they don't put on. Every single thing can bother you. Because you built this bothered system inside of you. And the world hits it, doesn't it? And the natural tendency for a human being is to go out there and make sure it doesn't bother me. A spiritual person says, that is a non-starter. I am not going to control every single person I ever come in contact with, everything they say, everything they wear, everything they do, to try and make it be the way I decided it's supposed to be. That's ridiculous. What's the alternative? Question how you decided these things, and you're going to see, oh man, I built this up from the experiences that happened in my life, and now it's so powerful that I have no choice but to listen to them. If somebody says something you don't agree with, how do you feel? Go on, be an activist. This is what I believe in. This is what should happen. And have somebody stand there and say, you're crazy. This is what should happen. Oh, all this garbage goes on inside of you. You get so upset. And you say, I'm right to get upset because I'm right. But guess what they're saying? I'm right to get upset because I'm right. Who's right? That's ridiculous. If it's the sum of your learned experiences, you're going to. A great master once said, but for God's grace, there goes myself. In other words, if I had gone through the experiences that person went through, that would be me. So you get to the point where you say, I can't have a good life by controlling everything in front of me. It's a constant struggle. It's stressful, isn't it? It is stressful to try and make the world be the way you want it to be. And everybody's doing that, aren't they? It causes tension and stress. So what's the answer? The answer is to question yourself. Question, how did I come up with these concepts and views? And what are they doing to me? They're ruining my life. They're creating all this stress. So what do? I learn this spiritual path. What is that? Change yourself. Change yourself. Not out of weakness, not out of fear, out of right understanding that I made a mess of myself and now the world is bothering me. So my teachings are as follows. Don't try to take on the big stuff. You can't. It's too strong. You understand that? What I want to know is, what do I do when the light turned red and I was in a rush? That's the one I want you to write me about. Now you've asked a question that both you and I can have an answer to, which is relax. Relax. If you're going to let the light turning red create stress, you're in trouble. If you're going to let the fact that it's raining when you have to get out of the car create stress, you're in trouble. Why? You have no control over those things, and you could just as easily enjoy them. Train yourself. Light turned red, oh boy. Chance to stop, breathe. Do breathing every time the light turns red. See what happens. Your whole life changes. It's raining. God, there'll be more flowers. There'll be food at Publix. It's raining. Right? You don't say, oh God, it's raining. I have to get out of the car and get wet. If a mind says that, you say, oh mine, you got wet this morning in the shower, you'll be okay. You don't melt. In other words, you're creating stress where there is no need for stress. You can accept the rain. You can accept that it's cold. You can accept that it's hot. You can accept that the light changes. You can accept that the driver in front of you doesn't use the blinkers. You can accept these stupid little things that you have no control over, but you do have the right to use your will to not resist them. Why would I do that? So you're not stressed. Don't tell me you have to change the world to not be stressed. You have to stop resisting these everyday moments that are creating stress. And then obviously when something bigger happens, you don't know what to do because you're already stressed. Well, is it easier to deal with things when you're relaxed and not stressed, or is it easier to deal with them when you're all stressed out already? I think I know the answer. So you decide, I have work to do, and it's inside. That's what's called the inner work. Is it meditation? Sure, you meditate, but it's way bigger than that. It's every minute of every day of your life. You are creating stress, and you're going to feel it. It's going to burn you out. I'm so burned out. Well, you did it. No, yes. All right? If you don't resist, you don't burn out. There's a story, the Zen. Isn't it amazing that a blade of grass is more powerful than an oak tree? What do you mean? If a strong enough hurricane comes through, we live out here, that oak tree's coming down. The blade of grass ain't coming down. Why? It bends. It doesn't resist. The oak tree, I'm strong. I resist. I've seen them, right? They resist. They get pulled out by the roots. Literally, the entire root of the tree is laying over there with all the dirt. You be as strong as you want. You hear me? You can't fight the forces of nature, the forces of reality. That blade of grass never breaks. I've never seen a broken blade of grass after a hurricane. All right? Those are the teachings. You learn to not resist. Now, let's go deeper, because people are scared of that. They think people will walk all over me. I'll never get anything. That's not true. It's not true. You never got anything by creating stress and yelling and screaming and carrying on and trying to manipulate and control. That does not do anything. You can't control somebody else's behavior. Let's get them straight. You can make it look like you did, but they're suppressing. It doesn't change your behavior to make somebody not do it. You have to work deeper than that. But you start with yourself. You change yourself first. And so you sit there and say, okay, I understand. If I'm feeling stress, it's because I'm resisting. And now I understand what resistance means. It means I've developed a notion of preferences for and against things, and the world is not behaving. And so I'm out there trying to manipulate and control the world, and that creates stress. And it creates worry, doesn't it? Well, what if it's not the way I want? Well, if he says he loves me, but I've been through that before, haven't you? The hurricane really I don't know if they want... Look at that. You can't handle anything because you just are busy resisting and trying to make it be the way you want. So how does one go about relieving stress? Acceptance. Acceptance is non-resistance. Relaxation is non-resistance. When you're relaxing, like the blade of grass, you can't resist because you're relaxing. That becomes the act of will. Instead of the act of will saying, I won't be okay until everybody be the way I want it to be, the act of will says, relax. That's willful. That's a willful act. Relax. Relax. What happens is when something happens that you don't like, your mind and heart immediately say, what do I do about this? I need to do something. I'm not going to sit there and just let this happen. I got to do something about it. I just told you what to do about it. Relax. That's the last thing in the world your mind will ever tell you. All right? I had to train mine. It took a long time. All right? The answer to the fact that something isn't working out the way you want it to be is to relax. But that's the opposite of what everybody does. Therefore, they're full of stress. It basically says the answer is to get stressful and don't let it be that way. What I like the most is, I don't like what happened to me. I don't want it to be that way. You just use the past tense. Happened to me. You are never going to make it not have happened. Never. Ever resist your past? No wonder there's so much stress. You can't change your past. It happened. So you can't sit there and say, I don't like that it happened. You're never going to make it not have happened. To me, that's like saying, I don't like that Saturn has rings. Okay, I'm sorry. All right? I don't like that he said that to me. I'm sorry, he did. And to me, that's exactly the same as Saturn having rings. It already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. So your choice is acceptance or resistance. Those are your only choices. If you accept, it passes through, and you're okay. If you resist, it does not pass through, and you're not okay for the rest of your life. It stays in there for the rest of your life. You suppress it enough so you don't see it, but it's down there blocking energies and doing everything. So now you understand stress. How do you get rid of stress? You get rid of stress by saying, I need to stop resisting. I need to stop resisting being the opposing force that's creating stress. And you're going to find out you resist almost everything. You resist your own thoughts, don't you? Oh, I shouldn't have that thought. Oh my God, I feel so bad. Okay, just have fun. You make a mess in there, don't you? Resistance is a problem, not a solution. So what happens if I don't resist? If I learn to relax, relax, relax. Then people write me and say, I tried to relax, but it wouldn't relax. The fact that I got stopped by the light, it's still saying I don't like it. I didn't tell it to relax. I told you to relax. And that's when I can tell whether you understand these teachings. You are in there willfully resisting the disturbance that's happening inside of you. You do not have to. The disturbance is left over from your samskaras, from your patterns that you stored in there. You are the consciousness that is experiencing the disturbance. You relax. Leave it alone. You relax. You relax. What will happen? It will pass. Right away? No. Who knows? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It doesn't matter. The point is, you're not participating in the resistance. That's all I ask of you. I didn't tell you to get rid of it. Oh, I have this terrible thought when I come home and I am supposed to love my husband or wife and I don't tell them, but I just don't feel like I used to. Shh. You want to feel like you used to? Let it go. Let what go? That thought. Let the thought go. But it's reality. No, it's not reality. It's programming. It's your past experiences. It's all that. Created the thoughts to be that way. Created the heart to be that way. It's not who you are. Relax. Let it go. Just relax. And you're going to find out that behind it is love. Behind it is beauty. And all of a sudden, everything changes. Everything changes when you stop resisting yourself. I just told you, you're resisting the outside world. Now I'm telling you not to resist yourself. Don't resist what the mind is saying. Don't resist what the heart is feeling. There's a reason the moment in front of you is unfolding the way it is. I said that, didn't I? There's a reason your heart is reacting to how the moment is unfolding in front of you. There's a reason your mind is creating the thoughts it's creating because of the moment in front of you. They're all the same reason. They're the sum of their learned experiences. The world is that, isn't it? Physics, right? Cause and effect. And your mind is that, and your heart is that. You're not. The consciousness that's experiencing all this is not the sum of your learned experiences. I've asked some questions lately, and I like the answer I'm getting. Were you in there yesterday? I don't know you. Were you in there yesterday looking out through your eyes and watching your thoughts and feeling your heart? How about a year ago? Were you in there? How about 10 years ago? When you were 5, 8, 10 years old and you looked in the mirror, did you see the reflection just like you see the reflection now, except the reflection you see is totally different now than it was then? You have always been in there. You have no age. You have no gender. You're just there. You're just consciousness that's aware. That does not have these opinions and preferences and fears, but it watches the psyche that does. Be the being. Be the center. Be the consciousness. How? Relax. Like I said, if somebody doesn't feel comfortable, you want to do something about it. Of course you do. It's natural. Here's what you do about it. Relax. That's not natural. Okay? Relax. Relax. In a sense, it almost is. You can see some animals, if they see you, they run away. Some animals stop. They stop moving. They just become stone still. Okay? They've seen when you do something about it, it makes it worse. Right? They'll see you moving. Okay? Relax. Relax. I dare you. Practice relaxing with these very simple things that are unfolding in front of you. Your entire life will change. It will totally change. Then what will happen is you'll learn to relax through these stupid things that you are causing yourself trouble about for no reason. Most of the trouble you have, you caused yourself. There's nothing wrong with the light turning red. There's nothing wrong with the person in front of you driving weird. There's nothing wrong with the weather, ever. It is what it is. But you make it wrong. You say it's too hot, it's too cold, it shouldn't rain when I have to get out of the car. I don't like the wind messing up my hair, to have my hair done. And frizzy, oh my God, the humidity, I hate it. My hair gets all frizzy. You're doing that. You decided to bother yourself that somebody else got the corner office. You decided to bother yourself because somebody had a car that you wished you had. You're bothering yourself, aren't you? Stop it. And you'll stop being bothered. So if you relax instead of resist, things pass through. All right, now I always promise, but what will my life be like? Won't people just walk over me? Won't I not do anything? I'm just sitting there letting go and accepting and honoring. Yes, I don't feel as stressed. That's not what happens. What happens is, right now, your stress and your anxiety are blocking your energy flow. Worse than blocking, you're using the beautiful energy that's meant to flow inside of you. Love, inspiration, respect, honor, everything, all the beautiful energy, you're using it to resist. Literally, you're taking your chi, your shakti, call it whatever you want, spirit, and you're using that inner energy that's very beautiful to push down on events that you don't want to happen. You're resisting, and it ends up being stress. I told you, two energy forces opposing each other create stress. Well, that's Shakti, consciousness, opposing reality, and it creates stress. So if you relax instead, You have freed the energy. You didn't just stop yourself from creating stress. You liberated the energy that was being used to create stress. All right? It's called transmutation of energy. Yoga is all about transmutation of energy. It starts off as stress, and you relax, and it's joy. You start feeling a rush of energy inside of you because you freed the energy from doing what you were making it do, from resisting and creating stress. And if you do this more and more, what you're going to find out is that there is a beautiful flow of energy inside of you. I wish you all knew that. You do know it, because sometimes you feel it. When you get what you want. It sounds funny that I said that. When you get what you want, you stop resisting. Called opening. You open. You stop resisting. When you stop resisting, how do you feel? Beautiful. That's how you should feel all the time. So if you know it's beautiful to feel wonderful if you stop resisting, then learn to stop resisting. I'm not teaching anything different. Okay? If you see that a person you meet makes you feel love, or you can feel love in her presence, then don't start judging what she's doing so you don't open in her presence. Which would you rather do? Feel stress in her presence or love in her presence? Then stop resisting. Don't sit there and say, I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like what you did to your hair. I don't like what you said to me. I don't like the way you treated my friends. You're not going to feel love then. Because you just turned the flow of energy that was love into resistance. Now, don't blush, because we all do that, don't we? You think that person has to be a certain way for you to love them. No, you have to be a certain way for you to keep loving them. It has nothing to do with them. But it can't be that way. You want them to be the way you need them to be so you don't feel stressed. I'll do it again. You want them to be the way you need them to be so you don't resist the way they are. All right? And that's what you call a relationship. You're just sitting there deciding and manipulating and controlling. And of course you don't feel love. How can you? You've just turned love into the power of resistance. The opposite works also. Relax. Let go. Honor. Respect. Respect the people who are different than you. Respect the people who have bad days and they say things. People write, I don't know what to do. I just don't feel the love for my husband or wife that I used to feel. You did that. No, it's the way they hurt me once. They did something that hurt me. Okay, is it happening right now? No. How long ago? It was 10 years ago. Well, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. And you'll find that you still feel love. So basically, don't turn the beauty of the Shakti, the beautiful energy inside of you, into a force of resistance, which is what you're doing. Instead, relax. Then what will happen? We start talking about how do you interact with the world then? What will happen is that the energy will start coming up. It'll start being freed. You'll start feeling love for no reason. The bird will sing and your heart will burst open. You'll see the sky, your heart will burst open. You'll see a kid, your heart will burst open. Everything, just because you stop resisting, right? So you're an open being. And then basically you'll feel all this inspiration, tremendous inspiration and creativity will start pouring inside of you, where you used to be resisting and fighting. And guess what happens to that? You express it. Now you're not controlling the world to be the way you want. Now you're taking the beauty you have found inside yourself and sharing it with the world, sharing it with your relationship, sharing it with your work. You actually go to work to do the job, not to get paid. And how it should be? You go to work and can't wait to get there. And the entire time you're there, no matter what happens, you're having a blast. And then you go home, and you're happy to go home, and you're happy to go back to work. And on Friday, they give you this piece of paper, a paycheck, and you have no idea what it's for. That's how it should be. Wouldn't that be fun? And when you come home, if the husband or wife had a bad day, fine, they had a bad day. They're not going to be in a good mood. Who cares? I'm not going to build them up. Say, 3 times this week you came home in a bad mood. I don't have to put up with it. What are you doing? You do it, don't you? It's because you're not okay that you need them to be a certain way. If you are okay, all you feel is compassion. All you feel is love. It doesn't make any difference. Somebody comes home and says, we were supposed to go out tonight, something like that. Oh, no, I had a bad day. I don't want to go out. Okay, good. You do your thing. I got lots of stuff I can do, including there's a story of Yogananda that he was in a train. He was riding the train. It was a long train ride, all right? And he tells the story that he was sitting there and the conductor kept walking by, looking at him. And eventually the conductor said, excuse me, sir, after hours, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? Because Yogananda was just sitting there with his hands folded, total peace. He said, what are you doing? He said, I'm sitting here. Nobody else is just sitting there. Everybody else is moving around and fighting so far, right? What are you feeling? He said, peace. I feel so much peace that there's nothing to do. I just feel peace for hours while I'm sitting there. How would you like that? There's what happens instead of going out to dinner or a movie. You just sit down and feel love and joy and peace, total well-being. That's how your whole life becomes when you stop blocking your energy flow. How do you stop blocking your energy flow? By stop blocking and resisting and fighting so that things are the way you want them to be. Well, what will happen? You will feel all this energy, and then you will express it. So you get up in the morning, you express. Everything you're doing is creating, expressing, but not to get something. You're a giver. You stop being a taker. You'd be embarrassed if I told you you're a taker. None of us want to think we're takers. You're takers. If you have a way the world needs to be, and you're trying to be that way, you're a taker. You're taking from the world to try to make yourself be okay. You don't know that until the energy starts flowing inside, and it's so strong that only thing it can do is express, give, serve. That's all that's happening. And you realize, my God, I used to be a taker. All right? Now there's nothing to take because I'm fine. I'm whole. I'm complete. I'm filled with love and joy. Now I can share that. That is the spiritual path. So tension and stress are a very spiritual discussion, aren't they? It's all about going to God instead of fighting with the world. And you get to the point where you realize if you feel stress, that's a wonderful thing. You're seeing, what am I doing? Not what is everybody else doing. What am I doing to create all this stress? Okay? It's all just down to, are you conscious in there, and are you willing to understand the problems you are having, you are creating? The world is unfolding. There's birth, there's death, there's success, there's failure, there's everything. Everything. It's an amazing place, right? Everything happens around here. Are you able to honor it and respect it? Doesn't mean it feels good. If someone you love dies, it feels terrible. What's wrong with that? You feel loss. What's wrong with that? Can you accept that and not resist that? If you do that, it will pass through and make you a greater being, because you had that experience and learn to keep your heart open and learn to go through these things. So it's all about what you're doing in there. So that's what stress is. Stress is not something else. It's you resisting creates stress. So I never talked about stress like that before because it's a sensitive topic. People, they really want to know, what do I need to do so I'm not filled with stress? But they really mean is, what do you need to do so I'm not filled with stress? How does everything else need to change so I'm not filled with stress? Okay. All right. I hope you understand these things, because you can have a very beautiful life, and it has nothing to do with what's unfolding in front of you. You can learn to be completely open, and then you can serve the moments in front of you. Imagine that someone you love, makes me cry, someone you love dies, maybe even your husband or wife, but they were very popular and had a lot of friends, and sincerely, all you're about is trying to help everybody else handle the situation. Help everybody else handle the loss that they feel. Because what you feel is love. The pain of missing somebody is like saying, I love you. It's not bad. You don't feel that pain for people you don't love when they die. So to feel that proves how much I loved you, how much I love you. So honor that, respect that. Don't resist. Don't even resist that. Just honor, respect, and let it go through you. Let it widen you. Let it make you a greater being. Every experience can carve out a greater being in there. I would talk about it forever if you let me, right? Why? I don't want you to suffer. You're causing yourself to suffer because you're not accepting and honoring and respecting, but you're resisting. And it causes trouble. All right. Jagrative.